The way that people have been reacting to the death of Liam Payne by targeting his girlfriend and ex-girlfriends with hate campaigns has been absolutely shameful. I think that we have truly forgotten the meaning of personal responsibility as a society, and our propensity to blame women for everything, even things that had nothing to do with them, is clearly no better than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. I was gonna say I don't even have words, it's so disgusting, but I actually do have a lot of words, and that's what I'll be sharing today. I'm going to explain why, from my perspective as a doctor of clinical psychology, you should never blame a tragedy like what happened to Liam Payne on anyone in their life. Not only because it's cruel, but also because that's not how mental health works. To give you some brief background, if you're unfamiliar with the situation, One Direction star Liam Payne unalived himself a few weeks ago in Argentina after consuming a large quantity of substances. I'm not a big One Direction fan. I'm not very familiar with the ins and outs of his struggles. That's information you can find online if you trust those sources, I suppose. His girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, was traveling with him and left a few days before everything went down. And again, I'm not going to comment on the speculations and the rumors as to why she left earlier than him. The truth is that we don't know, and we likely never will. We weren't there. And let's be honest, everyone is just going to run with whatever rumor best fits their pre-existing narrative, so. Now, in the wake of Liam's death, these are the types of comments that Kate has been getting on her post where she commemorated Liam's death. My question is, why did Kate leave Liam in Argentina? Did Kate know that Liam was experiencing mental health problems? Are you under the impression that people with mental health problems can never be left alone? I'm so confused. You cheated on him a few times. How did you love him? Wow, Courtney, this is really interesting. So you personally knew Liam Payne and you have insider information that his girlfriend cheated on him. Thank you so much for bringing that to everyone's attention. I mean, you wouldn't just be saying this as a fan who has never met these people, right? Liam deserves justice. Roger had him falsely imprisoned in that hotel. Please help hold Roger accountable and please help clear Liam's name from the false allegations spread by Maya. More on the allegations in a second. You know, I understand that when people are experiencing grief, they want somebody to blame. That's kind of pretty typical in terms of the cycle of grief. But I always talk about how when it comes to parasocial relationships, while it's okay to feel certain emotions about people you've never met, acting in inappropriate ways is not acceptable. And this is an example of that. It is not Kate's responsibility to prove whatever theory you are running on based on zero information. I'm sorry, but I'm really struggling to understand the fact that if he truly felt loved, then he would have ever been in such a terrible headspace. And if you truly loved him, you would have stayed with him. He deserved better than to be left alone drowning in his thoughts. I know it might come off as insensitive, but I can't bear to say anything different. You're totally right, Desiree. It does come off as insensitive, and I love the expression, if you have nothing to say, maybe don't say anything at all. Because if you actually understood how mental health works, people still struggle with their mental health if they feel loved. And they can still sometimes make the decision that Liam made, even if they have tons of loving, supportive people in their lives. And a person can love somebody who's struggling and also choose to put their needs first, because at the end of the day, their responsibility is not to heal somebody else. Their responsibility is to themselves. Doll, he had escorts in his room prior to his death. I don't know if marrying you was on the table. Oh my god, so many people with insider secrets today who were at the hotel and saw this. Also, a super nice thing to say. I don't know why I don't even believe you. She'll use his name for profit endlessly. Used him then and will continue now. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely profiting off of somebody to express grief over your dead boyfriend. Nice try, love. No money claimed there, I'm afraid. You see how this motif is showing up of women as gold diggers, as clout chasers, anytime they are in the wake of somebody's death? You should have helped him. The man was depressed. Helping him to love himself, that's the woman's job, but you were too busy with social media. Tess, wow, you said the quiet part out loud. I can't actually believe that in the year 2024, women are actually saying the role of a woman is to save a man. And if they're doing their job, they're not doing their real job of saving a man. Meanwhile, these are the types of comments Cheryl Cole, Liam's ex and the mother of their child, has been getting. And keep in mind, they were on Very amicable terms from what I know. Sounds like she's more concerned about all the bad press and not much about Liam's death. Based on what? I'm just curious, where did you read these intentions in her post? Unless I'm missing some sort of brand new technology that allows you to see into people's brains and know what their intentions are and where their heart lies. Where were y'all when he was suffering? Why didn't you check on your very own son's dad? I'm really sad, I can't even speak. He was such an angel, he was my fave. God please rest him in peace. So many assumptions that she wasn't checking up on him and that if she had, it would have been enough to save him. Also, there is one exception to this whole your life is your responsibility rule. When you are a parent, you are also responsible for your children's lives until they are old enough to make their own decisions and be adults. Cheryl Cole's responsibility was to herself and to her son. It is not a parent's responsibility to save the other parent. Where were all of these caring people when Liam was struggling with his demons? Now everyone is giving tributes. The hypocrisy is unreal. And unfortunately, there is also at least a third woman from Liam's life currently on the receiving end of a hate campaign, though she's actually been receiving it long before this. And we're talking about Maya Henry, Liam's ex, who has publicly accused him of a couple of things. One of them was she filed a cease and desist against Liam for allegedly refusing to stop contacting her, her friends, and her family, even from new phone numbers. She also alleges that he manipulated her by threatening to hurt himself. Now look, I'm not going to pretend that I, a stranger on the internet who has not seen evidence of anything, knows where the truth lies here. I'm sure a lot of you will be a lot more confident and let me know in the comments because apparently you have access to top secret information that nobody else does. But we're actually not here to talk about the allegations. We're here to talk about the backlash that the women in Liam's life experienced in the aftermath of his death. And these are the types of comments that Maya is receiving. Are you healed now? Suggesting that what she wanted by speaking up about her alleged abuse is for him to die? Hope you're happy now. He's gone. Did she kill Liam? This one's interesting to me because it shows really how far these people will go to truly blame a woman for a tragedy like this. That it's not enough just to say, oh, she should have supported him, she shouldn't have left him, she should have checked up on him. That they literally feel that this person was the one to cause the death, like physically speaking. That's how deep the blame runs for these people. I guess you are now feeling relieved. I hope you feel how Liam felt. Damn, you really got your way. Are you happy now? For the record, I would imagine that somebody in this position would be feeling a very complicated mix of very painful emotions. If on one hand, this is somebody that she loved at one point, there's going to be some grief no matter what terms they left things on. But then to also feel like because you spoke up about your experience and something bad happened, I'm sure this person doesn't need any more pushes towards guilt. Hope you're happy. It's all your fault. Did you push him? 1,000 snake emojis. Won't be needing those lawyers anymore. Yes, likely your fault. Are you happy? ¿Estás feliz? Congrats. Well, you got what you wanted. Are you happy now? More snake emojis. I think that we as a society need a refresher on personal responsibility. Your actions are your responsibility. Their actions are their responsibility. No one else has the responsibility nor the power to control what another person does. If a person decides to drive under the influence, that is their responsibility. If you then go home upset and start yelling at your partner, that is your responsibility how you reacted to that. Your life circumstances are your responsibility. If somebody is unfair or the world is unjust to you, that's not your fault. But yes, it still is your responsibility to overcome those circumstances. It's actually no one else's responsibility to save you from yourself. We might be able to give someone a little bit of support that makes them feel a tiny bit better, or to give them access to the tools that they need to get better, like access to therapy, for instance, or to slightly influence them into changing their perspective. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that person's decision to absorb or reject that support. And let's be real, all of these people commenting have no idea what level of support Liam actually received. You have no idea what the people in his life tried or didn't try. So why don't you shut up about it? And I find it very interesting that when people misunderstand responsibility, it usually ends up backfiring on the woman. When a woman comes forward and accuses a man of abuse, for instance, she's asked things like, what were you wearing? Were you asking for it? Implying that that man's behavior is her responsibility. But when a man takes his own life, the women in his life are asked, why didn't you help him? Why couldn't you save him? Did you get what you wanted? Were you the one that pushed him? Interesting. It's almost like these people are saying that women are responsible for men's actions. But these people seem to have no trouble understanding that a woman is responsible for her own actions when it comes to reactive abuse or when it comes to how she's dealing with abuse. Because they'll ask her things like, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you call the police? Why did you wait so long to speak up? So they understand that a woman's responsible for her actions. It's just that a man's not responsible for his. The woman's also responsible for his. And a lot of these comments, as you saw, ultimately come down to sexist stereotypes. People who say these things see women as clout chasers who only associate with men to use them, no matter the evidence that they actually love this person. Or that women need to be these self-sacrificial lifesavers whose entire life purpose is just ensuring the well-being of other people, and their own well-being should be kind of like an afterthought, if anything. Or the stereotype that women are just these omnipotent and evil seductresses who take away men's power, and that's why apparently they have control over what men choose to do. And they also see men as these helpless little children who can't take care of themselves, or as victims of these seductresses because men just can't control their sexual desires. It's just too hard. These women, they're so evil, they're so powerful. The truth is that we can help people to an extent, but we still cannot control what someone else chooses to do. We can beg someone to go to rehab or therapy, but they may still choose not to go. Most people end up relapsing 7 times. So if they relapse the 6th time, is that on us? We can try to be around them 1,000 times, but the moment they're alone, they're still going to do what they want to do. We can offer them support, but it's not always going to take away their suffering. Even therapists are not responsible for the deaths of their clients. And this is where I fundamentally disagree with the law in the US. The law states that in some situations, therapists are responsible for the deaths of their clients. And while I agree that therapists are responsible for providing quality evidence-based care to their clients, they do not have the power nor the right to tell another person what to do. And that's part of why I quit being a therapist. Aside from the fact that my love for writing became so strong that I couldn't do anything else, it's that I understood there is a clash here between my personal beliefs and the law. And I don't ever want to be in a position where I need to feel the impact of that clash. So I'm just gonna respectfully go my own way. People need the tools and resources to heal, but ultimately, their choice to use those resources is the only thing that can heal them. They need to be the ones to intend to use those resources and to put in the effort. And why it's so incredibly messed up to say these things to these women is that grief already involves so much guilt and so much bargaining. Thinking of like, oh my God, if I had been there, if I had done this, I could have supported this person in this way, it would have prevented what happened. To blame somebody else for a death that they're probably already blaming themselves for is something I would never wish upon even my worst enemy. And usually I think, okay, with my worst enemy, I think I might wish a few things on them, but not this one. This one is too evil. That kind of guilt hovers over a person the rest of their life. So please, think before you type out these hateful messages. You have no idea how much they did or didn't try to help Liam, and honestly, it's none of your goddamn business. At the end of the day, it was not their responsibility. It's kind to offer support to someone who needs it, but you are only really responsible for your own life, and it is not your job to save someone else. Everyone has their own demons. They can't be wrangling somebody else's as well as their own.